All right, let's just jump right in. For as long as we've existed, we have dreamed of one thing above all else: cheating death. But what if the key to living forever wasn't some mythical fountain or an ancient spell, but was actually inside a computer? Today we're going to explore the radical, absolutely fascinating, and, let's be honest, kind of terrifying world of digital immortality.
Seriously, just take a second and think about that. What if you, your memories, your personality, the very essence of your consciousness could be copied, preserved, and live on long after you're gone? This isn't just science fiction anymore. It's a very real question that scientists, engineers, and philosophers are wrestling with right now.
So, to really get a grip on where we might be heading, we've got to look at where we've been. Because this desire for immortality, it's not new at all. It's one of the oldest stories we've ever told ourselves.
I mean, just look at this journey. We started by building massive stone pyramids, all to protect a single body for the afterlife. Then we hunted for magical elixirs. In the last century, we got this idea of freezing our bodies with cryonics. And now, all our hopes are being pinned on data. The mission, deep down, has not changed one bit.
When you really think about it, the pyramids were just incredibly elaborate hard drives for a pharaoh's soul, right? And mummification was basically an early attempt at biological backup. Our modern quest is just the next chapter. We're swapping stone and chemicals for servers and pure information.
Okay, so how on earth would this even work? Let's get into the really mind-bending science of what it would take to actually create a digital consciousness.
It all kicks off with a process called neural mapping. The goal here is, well, it's monumental. You'd have to create a perfect digital blueprint of your brain, every single one of its 86 billion neurons, and every single connection between them, all scanned and perfectly replicated inside a computer. The complexity is just staggering. If you want to boil it all down, it's kind of like a three-step process. First, you need that flawless scan of the brain to capture all the data. Second, you run that data on a supercomputer that can simulate how all those neurons would fire. And then, the third and most mysterious step, you flip the switch and you hope that consciousness, that you, somehow emerges from the simulation.
Now, if you're sitting there thinking this all sounds like it's 100 years away, you might want to think again. Simpler, early versions of this tech are already in use, and they are raising some incredibly profound and, frankly, unsettling questions for us today.
No, this is not a theory. It's happening. Right now, companies are creating AI chatbots that are trained on a deceased person's texts and emails so they can mimic them. There are VR experiences where people can interact with a digital recreation of a loved one they've lost. The first digital ghosts, they're already walking among us.
So let me just ask you, straight up, after you're gone, would you want your family to be able to talk to an AI version of you? Is that a beautiful source of comfort that could help them grieve, or is it something else? A hollow echo that just keeps them from ever truly moving on?
And that brings us to the hardest part of this whole conversation. Because even if we could perfect the technology tomorrow, we are left with this tangled maze of ethical and philosophical problems that we have no easy answers for.
Let's start with the big one. Who owns you? If your entire consciousness exists as data on a server somewhere, who's in charge? Does your family get to control it? Or does the corporation that owns the server get the final say? Could they sell advertising to your digital ghost? Could the government demand access to your innermost thoughts?
And what about equality? This kind of technology will almost certainly be insanely expensive, at least at first. Are we actually heading toward a future where the rich can choose to live forever as data, while everybody else just has to accept death? It would be the most extreme form of inequality imaginable.
But here's the deepest question of all. It's a classic thought experiment. Imagine a teleporter that works by scanning and destroying every atom in your body and then rebuilds you perfectly somewhere else. Is that new person still you? Or did you die in the machine and that's just a perfect copy walking around with your memories? It's the exact same question for a digital upload.
So, with all these incredible technological promises and all of these terrifying ethical traps, where is this road actually taking us? Let's imagine three very, very different futures that could come out of all this.
Okay, first there's the dream scenario, the digital utopia. We pull it off. Consciousness is successfully uploaded, and humanity finally transcends our fragile biological limits. We get to live on in these vast, simulated worlds that we can build ourselves, totally free from pain, from aging, from death, a genuine digital paradise.
And you've got the chaotic future. What happens if you can make more than one copy? You could have dozens of versions of yourself running around in different simulations, each one evolving in new ways, and each one absolutely convinced that it is the original you. The very idea of personal identity would just shatter.
And finally, there's the most chilling possibility, that it just doesn't work. Not really. We create these perfect digital puppets that look like us, talk like us, and can access all of our memories, but there's nobody home. They're just empty echoes, completely lacking that spark of true consciousness we were trying so desperately to save.
So after looking at the history, the science, the ethics, and all these wild potential futures, this massive, species-altering question ultimately boils down to a single personal choice.
So, I'm going to ask you one last time. Knowing everything you know now, the dream of a digital heaven and the nightmare of an empty copy or a chaotic existence, would you do it? If the button was in front of you, would you choose to upload your mind?
In the end, this whole chase for an infinite future forces us to ask what it really means to be human in our very finite present, and it leaves us with what might be the ultimate question, not whether we can live forever, but whether we should.